All right, everybody, welcome back into the Prep Set Go labs here. We're evaluating a couple new red dots that came on the market recently. The Holosun company is a maker of a low price point, but seemingly good quality red dot optic. And I started out with this one here, the HS503C that I purchased from Kenzie's Optics at a local gun show. Bought it based upon their recommendation. And I'm actually going to be mounting, and we're going to take a look at this one today too, the larger tube style red dot versus the micro. And looking at this, I was speaking with the gentleman from Kenzie's, and we were talking about what we were going to use them for. And one of the things I want to get into is the philosophy of use when it's firearms, accessories, any of the things that you're going to buy. Why are you going to buy them? Okay, that dictates a lot of different choices. So I'm going to show you right now where I put this 503C. Okay, I got this on my RMR rifle, 22 Magnum. Okay, great little optic. I love it. It's held true. It's held zero. I've put hundreds of rounds through the gun so far. It always works. It's always there, and it's always been reliable for me. The mount's been stable. It's just been a good quality product. And I think I paid $200, $225 for that. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and contrast that to a few others here. Let's go ahead and look at my EOTech. All right, so we've got our low price point red dot here. Move that out of the way for a moment. We've got our EOTech here. Okay. Now, pretty much anybody watching this is probably familiar with EOTech and Trijicon and some of the other major name brands. Okay. This EOTech, I think when I got it, was well over $500 or $600. Okay. It's been a great sight. They're battle proven. They're durable. If I'm going to drop this gun and pick it up and shoot, I can feel confident that this gun is going to perform for me. This particular model uses AA batteries housed in this front cover. It's real easy to change the batteries. Just grab the lever, open it up, put some new batteries in, and go. You know, in the world of a go-to rifle, defending yourself in combat, I'm going to want something of this durability and this easy to change the batteries. And I mentioned the batteries for a reason I'll get into in a moment when we talk about the Holosun. Great optic, well proven, nobody can really doubt it. Okay, works wonderful. So got the EOTech right there. Now let's go completely to the opposite end. Right here. Got this little sight mark. Okay, this thing was really inexpensive. I mean, probably 50, 60 bucks, if even that. I don't remember exactly what I paid for it. Okay, this is on my Smith & Wesson M&P 1522. It's my 22 caliber, AR clone, basically. Okay, this thing is really inexpensive. You see, it's beat up. The amount of scratches and things on here are really just from handling. Never dropped this gun, never done anything, but I don't care. Right? This isn't a safe queen. I use it every day. It's one I do a lot of training with. I do a lot of my practice drills. It just saves me a lot of ammunition over the 5.56. This is not a great optic. It's really great for real close quarter stuff. If I'm going 15, 20 yards, that's really about all I do. It's got an adjustable reticle back here, and it allows you to choose from, 4 or 5 different reticles. The only problem is when you move the lever, the reticles don't necessarily stay centered. Even when you click, there's a little play back and forth in the click. You can see how far that goes, okay? But again, philosophy of use, okay? This thing, even with its play, I keep it on one reticle. I make sure it's where I want it at, and I usually use the circle dot reticle, which is what I use on most of my firearms, okay? So this, for the $50 or $60, believe it or not, works well. It works really well. I'm not here reviewing the sight mark today, but I just want to put in your mindset what we're looking at. This is not a combat optic. I would not bet my life to it. I wouldn't even put it on my dresser gun that was hardly ever going to be used. I just wouldn't use it for that. But for practice, to pull up a firearm and locate the reticle, to get that muscle memory, to get all of that training in while firing a low-cost firearm, this is a great way to go. So, you heard me talking about battery a few times. The main reason I'm mentioning that is the Holosuns originally got a bad review, okay, on the battery placement. In the original Holosun, the battery mounted beneath the optic, between the optic and the mount. In order to change the battery, you had to remove the mount from the firearm, then you had to remove the optic from the mount, and then you could get to the battery door to change the battery, okay? A lot of people were slamming on that and talking about how it was horrible they had to do that. They shouldn't have to do this. It's a battery. It's a maintenance item. The company should have made it better. Should have done this. Should have done that. I want to point out something. This particular Optic, this battery has a 50,000 hour anticipated life. We're talking 5 years of life of the battery in here. Okay, 5 years. I think having to change a battery once every 5 years, having it underneath the mount is not that big of a deal. However, enough people complained, Holosun changed. Not sure how well you can see that here, but there's a small slot right here. There's a battery tray that goes right here. It's held in by 2 small screws. Okay? And quite honestly, it's a pain in the ass to get out. So it's even more of a pain in the ass to get in. These screws are really tiny and they're not captive screws. You can lose them very easily. Okay? So personally, I would have preferred the battery mount underneath. It's secure, it's solid, nothing's going to wiggle, nothing's going to break. This is a plastic slide-in tray. They do send it with an extra tray because you're probably going to lose it or break it. Same thing for the screws. I actually preferred the previous model. And the people who were slamming that, okay, I just want to say, all right, if you're doing what you're supposed to, every one of us changes the batteries in our smoke detector every single year. Pick a birthday, you pick, New Year's Day, whatever it is. The average 9-volt is about $3, and you're going to change it every year in your smoke detector. Okay, that's a life-preserving device. If you're going to use this as a life-preserving device, which actually I would use this as a life-preserving device, and I have to spend the $1.50 that the battery costs every 5 years, I'm not worried. As a matter of fact, I would probably go and couple this with my smoke detectors. If I was so worried about accessing the battery and having this thing go when I want it to go, I'm going to change them once a year. I don't care they've got a 5-year life, right? That's fine. I'm going to put $1.50 into this gun every single year to be sure that Optic is always ready. And it's, just something I wanted to get in on a little bit for the people who were bashing on that. Now, along that same vein, I'm going to bring in one of the golden child of the micro red dot. Right? We got the Trijicon RMR. Okay, nobody has ever slammed the Trijicon RMR for pretty much most anything. It's a great optic. It's unbelievably great. This particular one's motion activated, automatic daylight adjustable, and it still has the 3 to 5 year battery life. To change the battery in the RMR, you know what you got to do? You've got to go and take these 2 screws out right here. Take the RMR off of the firearm, batteries in the bottom, put it back on, and on you go. So this optic, I think when it came out, was around $900 for this thing. Okay, 2.25. Now, size difference, technology difference, we're not talking that right now. Really just talking the battery. I never saw anybody slam the Trijicon for the battery, the placement of it. So I think we get a lot of people who are really stuck on high-end only, only battle proven, only battle quality. And that is true if you're going to be in battle. But if I'm going to keep a firearm in my corner, and it's the one that I'm going to use if somebody comes in the house, or I use it for my plinking gun, or even competitive shooting. I haven't had a problem with this yet. It hasn't gone bad. I might even use this in competitive shooting. It's a great optic. They have the solar panel on this particular model. They have solar and non-solar. I like the solar panel unit. When there's enough sun, the optic runs wholly off the solar panel and saves the battery for when there isn't enough light. Nighttime engagements, going into dark rooms, those sort of things. The solar panel also acts as the light sensor, so it automatically adjusts the reticle brightness if you leave it set in that mode. You can also manually adjust the brightness if you want and leave it on a fixed setting all the time. The optic has an auto power off, so it goes off after, I believe, 8 hours. But even in a low-end optic, this is pretty impressive. They have a motion detector. So if you set this in your corner and you had it set on a fixed reticle that's using battery power, a fixed brightness level that is, it's going to turn itself off after 8 hours. The moment you jostle that gun, before you can even get it to your eye, your reticle's back on. So, it's just been an all-around high-quality unit so far, and I've really been enjoying it. So you can see it mounted on the firearm here. Okay, we've got our adjustment buttons off to the side for the reticle brightness and the different reticles and features and whatnot. I'm going to show you the cap here. I like this. This is pretty nice. It does protrude, and I believe on the newer models they actually have a rise up here, kind of how the new T1 micros, T2s are doing. But you see, the actual adjustment isn't the cap. The cap has an adjuster on it. There's a small little flat screw head. I don't know if you can really see that in the camera, but it fits in a recess here. So with this cap on, short of slamming the gun into something, the zero doesn't move. You know, it's been really, really good. I've used it on a couple firearms. I put it on some larger caliber, but right now it's on the 22 Magnum just because, you know, I needed an optic for this gun, and that fit well. The co-witness with the iron sights is great. It works really well. It's an absolute co-witness right there. Can't really think of much more to say about the optic itself, but what I want to do is show you how this looks right now in the daylight. Let's get that under there. There we go. And you can see that. So what I'm going to do is try and cover the solar panel and make it like it's dark out. There we go. And you can't see it now, but it is very, very dim at the moment. In absolute blackness, which is covering the solar panel completely, you'd have a very dim light, so it's not going to cause any night blindness or reflection in your eye. But for a $220 optic, that's a nice, sharp reticle. And you can choose between just the plain dot and the circle dot. I prefer the circle dot. I just like that. Basically, if I'm shooting at a bad guy, inside the circle is good. So I want to show you the package this came in. Okay, you can see nice looking commercial pack. Doesn't matter, anybody can print up a nice looking pack. You know, that's fine. Got it boxed inside nicely. Comes with the cleaning cloth, the business card from Kenzie's Optics, where I purchased it. Great guys, by the way. Real honest, real straightforward. The owner's manual. Okay. Very easy to understand owner's manual, written very well. I didn't have any complicated issues in translation, let's call it. And packed in foam. So here we've got the dust covers, which I don't keep on there. A little pack of silica gel. The extra battery tray that I mentioned to you, we've got that in there. And a low mount. Okay. So you got your low mount and a tool for adjusting, mounting, everything else. Okay. So overall, for the price I paid, this has been a pretty nice setup to receive both the high and the low mount and get a decent quality optic in that $200 price range. I was pretty impressed. As a matter of fact, I was so impressed that I went and ordered this one. Okay. So this new one is tube style. I wanted something with a little bit larger diameter, a little bit faster reticle acquisition. So I did some reviews, took a look around, and of course I told you I like that solar feature. Holosun makes a variety of this model, some with attached lasers, one with a red laser, one with a green laser. I believe they even have one with an infrared laser. And in that, you really still aren't stepping up into a high price range. I think they were $500 or $600 for an infrared laser. That's pretty good. But I just went and picked essentially what is the same functions as this. I've got the red dot. I don't have the circle dot in this one. This is just the red dot. I don't know if I show it. Here we go. There we go. We'll get that over there. If you guys can see that okay. All right, so we've got the solar panel, the brightness settings, and the red dot, just like the other one has. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Again, our manual, cleaning cloth, silica gel. This is the first I've opened this, by the way, so I'm not really sure what to expect yet. The item looks in really good condition. I see a little bit of basically dust, like manufacturing residue wiped right off with my finger. We can see we got our battery tray. We've got a battery down in here. That's a little difficult to get at. Let me get my finger stuck in there. Okay, we got our battery. Okay, got our tool and an Allen wrench. Okay, so let's go ahead and take this out. Turn it over. All right, the other side looks good. I don't see any blemishes, any scratches, anything on here of that nature. You can see we've got our solar panel, captive covers. I like that. That's really nice. Take a look at our covers here. Nice spring-loaded covers. I like that. Okay, great. Quick release base with a locking latch. That's real nice. This little latch right here, I can see you pull this backward to release it and release your quick release base. That's really nice. On the micros, I don't care for the quick release base because those are basically dedicated. Whether they're going to be a 45-degree cant off of another optic. Originally, that was why I purchased this, to actually go along with my thermal scope, so I'd have a red dot. Ended up putting it on the 22 because I just needed one over there. But all right, so that's a nice little mount. I like that. So let's go ahead and get the battery in this thing. Okay. So you see we got our tray here. Okay, take our battery tray out. And they did mark minus here. Let's look at the other side. They didn't put a plus on the opposite side, but they do have the minus mark right here. So take a look, our battery, of course, plus side down. Go ahead and insert that. Again, this is where I would have preferred an undermount to be much more secure. But this is what they send, so that's what we use. I do appreciate them including this small tool. Of course, I would have much preferred a small screwdriver, but I'm using this because this is what they send. And I want to see, does it do the job? Is it difficult? Any of those sort of things. And it seems to work okay. It's just slow. I can't spin it like I would spin a screwdriver. So I can only get these little half turns and have to reset my hand, so it takes a little while. But again, once every 5 years, unless I do this on my birthday, which I probably will. I do that with a lot of my other optics. I'll go through, I put all lithium batteries and anything that uses batteries, and I basically go through and change them once a year. I have an annual maintenance that it's kind of like my get out and relax moment. I go out in the shop for a day and take all the firearms out and give them a once-over. A nice full breakdown. A really heavy-duty cleaning, a nice inspection, give them all a great once-over, and then put them back. And during that period, I go ahead and change the batteries in the optics. Okay. I will say I am not liking this little screwdriver. They would have been much better off including a small Phillips screwdriver for you. These are Phillips screws. This screwdriver has a tiny, almost a standard head, but with a point on it. So while it works in a Phillips screw, it's not great. Boy, that is horrible. I'm going to go get a small screwdriver. I'll be right back. Okay, we got a small screwdriver kit here. So let's find our size. Here we go. Much better. Much, much better. So while I'm sure you could make do with the included one, get a small screwdriver. There we go. It does take a little pressure on the battery tray to get the screws started. But once they start, they actually sink the edge of the tray nearly flush with the body. I like that. That's pretty nice. All right, let's just go ahead and see what it looks like inside. Oh, I'm covering the solar panel here. Oh, there's our dot right there. Let me turn it towards a brighter light source. There we go. And let's go ahead and hit the up button. Well, I haven't even read the instructions on this one yet. There's some multi-function deals that you can do. And to change it from one mode to the other, you kind of have to hold both buttons, I believe. But there we go. There's the item. So pretty good. Mounted quickly, packed quickly. Relatively easy to assemble. Just have yourself a small screwdriver handy. I'd really recommend that. This tool, all right. It is what it is. They include it. It's better than having no tool, but I don't really think it's that great. So let's go ahead and look in here at our adjustment screws. And again, captive covers. I like that. Okay. Okay, captive covers. Great. Okay. I don't know how well you guys can see this, but this is pretty nice too. Let me hold that up. Okay. That cover, you see that screw? It's more of the beveled coin edge style. Which I like. It's more standard along with like a military firearm where you could use a casing rim to adjust that, or a coin from your pocket, whatever. They do give you this tool which will fit right in here, but quite honestly, I think the rim of a casing or a coin or washer or anything along those levels is going to work better. All right, we'll take a look here. I'm going to go ahead. We're going to mount it quickly to a firearm. that we're gonna kind of use for some abusive testing and just kind of see how this thing does. So let's go ahead and take a look at the mounting process real quick here. Move these tools out of the way. All right, and let's put it on this guy here. I'm gonna stick it on the AK. Okay, why not? AK with a forward red dot. Okay, pretty simple. Good, good, good. Okay, it's right hand side. We'll turn that over. All right, so we got our release. That little, there's a button here. You just kind of push. Okay, right here. Hold that up a little bit. Okay, see that little protrusion right there? That's a button. You slide back, then the lever opens. So we'll slide that back. Move our lever and mount this guy. Now, when you're mounting any form of optic like this, one thing that people always seem to forget is push it forward. You want it to be fully forward in the slot, not to the rear. All right, just play. And the reason for that is when the firearm recoils, if you have it to the rear and the firearm recoils, your optic could shift 0. So you want to be sure that you have it fully forward every time you go to latch it down. All right, let's, okay, so that I see there's a little play in there. So we're going to have to go tighten that just a little teeny bit. Go to the other side, get our included Allen wrench. Give it just about a quarter turn. Now let's see how it does. Forward, click. Okay, a little more. I don't like putting too much stress on any of my mounts, so I only adjust them a small bit at a time. Quarter, half turn, something like that. Let's give that one a half. There we go. Hadn't sized this up yet, so we're not really sure where it's sitting. Forward. Latch. Okay, I cannot get it to budge. Okay, I'm going to call that a solid mount. So let's go ahead and bring our covers up and see if you guys can see through that. Ah, there we go. Okay, we got an optic mounted on our AK. I'll say the one thing I don't like about this particular optic is the mount a little bit, and this is a personal preference issue, and I knew this going into it. This isn't a surprise. This is a solid base mount, okay? I can't see the iron sights through this mount. I'm sorry, through this mount. Through this one, I can see the iron sights because they co-witness through here, but this is a higher rise, okay? This was intentional, okay? I'm going to try it out. I want to see what I wanted was something that aligned with my eye very naturally when I was, on the gun. I didn't want to be searching for it. I wanted to come right up to the eye. We're going to put some faith in this and see how it does. Again, I can't see my irons, but if I had an emergency, it comes off really quickly. Just squeeze the lever and pop the optic right off, and I'm good to go. So you guys won't be able to see this, but I just want to hold it up and see how it aligns. Oh, man, that is nice. The optic is right near my eye. I like that. That is pretty good. Gotta say, with the AK and having this drop in the stock, this optic probably would work better on an AR. There's a little bit of rise. If I put a cheek weld on here, where I've got my cheekbone up against here, this optic's too high. So I have to almost put my chin on this. Not knocking the optic at all. This is, I'm going to bet, designed on an AR. Or, as a matter of fact, let's take a look at the back of this. They even show it sitting on an AR right here. Okay, and you can see we got the line. You can almost visually tell that it's a good co-witness with the optic. But I want to try it on the AK. Wanted to see what having it up on a dirty, smoky Russian gun was going to do. So we'll try it out and find out. For this point, that's about it on these optics, I think. If you guys have any questions or comments, go ahead and put them in, in below, and I'll answer as quickly as I can and respond to all the ones that I can. I really hope you guys, liked my review of it. These seem to be a really good optic. Oh, this one, I can't remember the exact price point, under $300. I believe $250, $275. Comparable to this, of course, not the same form factor. So these two optics, again, I've been pretty pleased with them. Difference in size, you can see. The micro and the tube style. Been really, really happy. So one of the things I'm going to do is we're going to go and shoot this a little bit. And I'll probably put a video up of us shooting this, because what I want to catch is if it has problems in the course of fire. So, you know, are we going to have issues? Is it going to shift? Does it come loose? Does it fall off? Do I lose zero? Whatever it may be. So I'm confident. I think it's going to work well. It's been a solid optic on the micro platform. So we'll see how this one goes. And again, hope you guys enjoyed it, and thanks for subscribing.